Jimin exposed Jungkook on live. And Jungkook's silence shocked everyone, loudly crying, "Face fire, then tell them the truth, Jungkook. Right here. Right now." Jimin's voice sliced through the quiet of the room, raw, trembling, and broadcast to nearly 200,000 stunned viewers. The live stream flickered, caught between pixels and panic. Jungkook froze, fingers clenched around his phone like it was a detonator he never meant to activate. His lips parted, but nothing came out, only the soft hitch of breath that the mic captured too clearly. The comments exploded in a frenzy. What truth? Jimin, what's going on? Kook, say something. Jimin didn't look at the chat. He was staring only at Jungkook, pupils bright with a storm he'd been holding back for far too long. His chest rose and fell in sharp waves, like every second was costing him oxygen. The room around them was dimly lit, a warm studio lamp spilling gold across their skin, catching the tension in their tightened jawlines and locked shoulders. A faint hum from the AC filled the silence, a cruel reminder of how quiet Jungkook had become. Jimin's hands shook slightly before he hid them behind his back. He had never intended this, never planned to break publicly, or to push Jungkook into a corner where thousands were watching. But the week had been a minefield. Missed calls. Cancelled dinners. Late-night whispers behind closed doors. The weight of something unspoken. Something Jungkook refused to admit even to himself. Jungkook swallowed hard. The camera caught the movement of his throat, the flicker in his eyes as they darted to the phone screen, then back to Jimin. His voice, when it finally came, was barely more than a whisper. "Hyung, don't do this here." Jimin's laugh was breathless, almost bitter. "Exactly. We never do anything here. Everything between us only exists somewhere in the dark, where no one gets to see you being honest." Jungkook's jaw tensed. He looked away, then back, caught between wanting to protect him and wanting to disappear. His silence pressed against the walls, thick and suffocating. The chat spiraled again, but neither of them paid attention. Jungkook tried to move closer, but Jimin stepped back, not in anger but in fear that if Jungkook touched him, even slightly, he would break completely. The youngest finally found his voice. "I didn't mean to hurt you." His tone was small, uneven, painfully sincere. "But you did," Jimin replied, his voice dropping to something fragile, almost private, though thousands were hearing it. "And you kept pretending nothing was wrong." Jungkook's breath stuttered. He seemed smaller than usual, like the confident, light-hearted boy the world adored had been peeled away, leaving only the raw, trembling truth underneath. "I wasn't pretending," Jungkook said softly. "I just didn't know how to say it." Jimin's shoulders lowered a fraction. "Not forgiveness. Not relief. Just exhaustion. So say it now," Jimin whispered. Jungkook's lips parted, but again, nothing came. His eyes lowered, lashes trembling, guilt etching shadows across his expression. Jimin exhaled slowly, the tension draining from him in a dangerous, heartbreaking way. His voice gentled, softer than the trembling air around them. "You think silence protects you," he said. "But it just leaves me alone." The sentence hit Jungkook like a blow. His fingers twitched, curling into fists as he fought the instinct to close the distance. He didn't. Not yet. Not with the world watching. The livestream timer blinked red, **live 09:42**. Jimin blinked rapidly before his expression steadied. "Not cold. Just resolved. You don't have to tell them everything," he said, voice now barely louder than a breath. "But you owe me the truth. At least that much." Jungkook's breath caught again, but this time, he didn't look away. "I'm scared," he said quietly. Jimin's eyes widened just slightly. "Of what?" "Of ruining us." The words hovered between them, trembling, hot, unguarded, and suddenly the silence wasn't empty, it was full. Full of every late-night message Jungkook never sent, every glance he held too long, every feeling he buried deep enough to pretend it wasn't there. Jimin's lips parted in something between surprise and ache. "You can't ruin something you never let exist," he murmured. Jungkook inhaled sharply. His voice shook with something that sounded dangerously close to confession. "I didn't stay silent because I didn't feel anything," he said. "I stayed silent because I felt too much." The studio light flickered, and the air tightened again. This time, it was Jimin who couldn't look away. The chat had descended into chaos, shocked emojis, theories, Please, but the world might as well have fallen silent for the two of them. Jungkook stepped forward, slow, hesitant. Jimin didn't move back this time. The youngest lifted a hand but stopped inches from Jimin's cheek, like he wasn't sure he had the right to touch him. Jimin's breath trembled. Then why push me away? Because I didn't want you to see how lost I was, Jungkook whispered. Jimin closed his eyes for a moment, letting the confession sink into every bruised part of his heart. When he opened them again, something in him softened, not forgiveness yet, but understanding. I already saw you, he said. I just wanted you to let me stay. This time, Jungkook's hand finally brushed his cheek, featherlight and hesitant. Jimin didn't pull away. The livestream kept running. The world kept watching, but for the first time, Jungkook didn't care. He wiped a tear from Jimin's cheek with his thumb, breath shaking. I'm sorry, he whispered. Jimin's voice cracked on a soft exhale. I know. They stood there, inches apart, under a light that felt far too bright for the truth that had finally spilled between them, and somewhere in the chaos of comments and the tremble of their heartbeats, something fragile began to mend because Jungkook had finally spoken, and silence was no longer the thing that defined them. The live stream ended with Jungkook's trembling thumb hovering over the screen, Jimin's breath still ghosting in the air between them. But even after the red live indicator disappeared, the tension didn't fade. It thickened. Muted. Dangerous. Jungkook placed the phone face down on the table, and the click of the device hitting the wood echoed like a gunshot. Jimin didn't move. He simply stared at the darkened screen like the ghosts of the comments were still trapped inside it. So, Jimin finally said, voice low, you're scared of ruining us. Jungkook dragged a hand through his hair, pacing a small, restless circle. I shouldn't have said that on live. You shouldn't have stayed silent for months, Jimin shot back. That landed. Jungkook stopped pacing and looked up, eyes sharp, wounded. Hyung, you exposed me in front of everyone. You didn't even warn me. Jimin's jaw tightened. Because warning you never works. You always escape. Jungkook blinked, stunned. Escape? Yes, Jimin said, stepping closer until the air between them felt electrified. Every time I try to talk to you about us, whatever we are, you shut down. You joke. You change the subject. You run. He placed a hand on Jungkook's chest, right over his heartbeat. The touch was reverent and furious all at once, and I'm tired of chasing someone who pretends he doesn't feel anything. Jungkook grabbed Jimin's wrist, not harshly, but firmly, holding on to him like losing this grip would mean losing everything. I never pretended not to feel, he whispered. Jimin's eyes darkened. Then what were you doing? Trying not to feel too much, Jungkook said, voice breaking. Because you terrify me. Jimin froze. The words struck like lightning, bright, violent, unpreventable. Terrify you, he repeated, breath shallow. Yes, Jungkook said. Because you look at me like you see every part of me, the parts one haven't figured out yet, the parts one hate, the parts one can't hide. And I don't know how to be that exposed without losing control. Jimin laughed, soft, disbelieving, painful. You think I don't feel the same? You think I'm not scared too? Jungkook stepped closer, their bodies almost touching now. Then why did you force it out of me on live? Because in private, Jimin whispered, you never let me in. But when the world was watching, you didn't run. You couldn't. Jungkook looked away, jaw flexing. So that's what I am to you. Someone who needs to be trapped to tell the truth. You needed to stop hiding, Jimin said. Even from yourself. Jungkook let go of Jimin's wrist, but the ghost of his touch lingered. Jimin lowered his hand slowly, as if releasing a truth he had carried for too long. What is it you think I'm hiding, Hyung? Jungkook asked, voice trembling with a dangerous curiosity. Jimin's eyes softened, too soft, too honest. The reason you look at me like you want something you're too scared to ask for. Silence cracked open between them. A muscle in Jungkook's jaw twitched. His breath hitched. His gaze dropped to Jimin's mouth for a fraction of a second he couldn't take back. Jimin noticed. See, he murmured. That. Jungkook flinched like he had been hit. You're reading too much. I'm reading what's right in front of me. And what if you're wrong? Jungkook shot back, voice rising, not in anger but in panic. Then look me in the eyes, Jimin said, stepping forward until Jungkook had to tilt his head slightly to meet his gaze. And tell me you don't want me. Jungkook's lips parted. He inhaled, exhaled, and fought to school his expression into something neutral, but his eyes betrayed him. He tried, but Jimin saw the truth catch in his throat. You can't lie to me, Jungkook, Jimin whispered. Not about this. Not anymore. Jungkook stepped back like distance could save him, but Jimin followed, refusing to let the space grow. Hyung, stop, Jungkook said, voice strained. You're not being fair. I'm being honest, Jimin said. Something you're still afraid of. That's not fair, Jungkook repeated, softer now, almost pleading. You don't understand what it feels like for me. Then tell me, Jimin insisted. For once, tell me. Jungkook squeezed his eyes shut. His chest rose and fell rapidly, like he was drowning in something he had tried to suppress for too long. I'm not like you, he said. Jimin frowned. What does that mean? You're brave, Jungkook whispered. You say what you feel. You face things. You don't hide. You don't freeze. And you do, Jimin said softly. Jungkook nodded once, defeated. Every time. Jimin stepped close again, but this time with gentleness instead of confrontation. His hand lifted slowly, like giving Jungkook every chance to move away. He didn't. Jimin cupped Jungkook's cheek, thumb brushing softly along his skin. You don't have to be brave, he said. You just have to be honest. Jungkook's eyes opened, wide, vulnerable, shimmering with emotion he couldn't cage anymore. His voice came out in a trembling whisper. Hyung. I don't know how. That's why I'm here, Jimin murmured. Not to force you. Not to expose you. But to help you stop running from yourself. Jungkook's breath caught. Something hot and painful and hopeful shimmered between them, something too big to name, too fragile to touch, yet too real to deny. You're going to break me, Jungkook said softly. Jimin's thumb stroked his cheek once more. You were breaking long before I said anything. I'm just trying to hold the pieces. Jungkook exhaled a shaky breath, shoulders finally slumping, tension melting into exhaustion. For the first time in months, he let himself lean into Jimin's touch, and for the first time in years, he didn't hide. He whispered, barely audible, stay. Jimin's heart trembled. I'm here. The room felt warmer, softer, safer. The air shifted. Jungkook's eyes fluttered shut, and he rested his forehead against Jimin's, breath mingling, hearts beating uneven rhythms that somehow matched. In the quiet that followed, something unspoken finally began to take shape, something delicate, dangerous, necessary. Something neither of them was ready to name. But both could feel. The silence between them after Jungkook whispered stay felt like a raw, open wound, tender, dangerous, and too intimate to look at directly. Jimin didn't move. Jungkook didn't pull away. Their foreheads rested together, breaths brushing softly as if they were learning to breathe in the same rhythm, but the moment couldn't hold forever. A sudden vibration from Jungkook's phone shattered their fragile stillness. The screen lit up with a flood of notifications, screenshots from the livestream, trending hashtags, concerned messages from staff. Jimin flinched as the glow illuminated Jungkook's face, revealing how pale he had become. They're already talking about it, Jungkook whispered, pulling back as if waking from a trance. Jimin nodded slowly. Of course they are. Jungkook ran a trembling hand over his face, pacing again with the same restless energy as before. But this time, it wasn't anger or panic, it was fear. Deep, chest-tightening fear. They think. Jungkook stopped. Swallowed. They think we, you know. Jimin's eyes softened, though his heart ached. Let them think whatever they want. We know the truth. That's the point, Jungkook said sharply, turning to face him. I don't even know the truth. The confession tore from him like something ripped loose after years of pressure. Jimin stepped closer, voice gentler. Then we figure it out together. Jungkook shook his head violently, back hitting the wall as he slid down until he sat on the floor. He looked up at Jimin with wide, exhausted eyes. You don't understand what this means for us, he said. For everything we've worked for. The team. The company. Your image. Mine. And what about you? Jimin asked softly. What does it mean for you, Jungkook? Jungkook hesitated. His lips parted, but the words didn't come. Jimin sank to the floor beside him, close but not touching. If you won't tell them the truth, at least tell me. Jungkook's breathing was uneven as he tried to gather thoughts that were slipping through trembling fingers. Shadows flickered across his face, fear, guilt, longing, confusion, colliding too fast to separate. "I can't tell you the truth," Jungkook whispered. "Why not?" "Because if I say it," he said, voice cracking, "it becomes real." Jimin's chest tightened. "What becomes real?" "You." Jungkook laughed weakly, bitter and defeated. "Us. Everything I've tried not to feel." Jimin swallowed, heart pounding. "And what exactly have you tried not to feel?" Jungkook looked at him, then really looked. The vulnerability in his eyes was devastating. "Everything," he whispered. The word trembled between them, fragile and heavy. Jimin's breath caught. For a moment, he couldn't speak, couldn't move. Jungkook leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor as if it held every secret he had buried. "I kept pushing you away," Jungkook said. "Because every time I got close to you, it felt like losing myself." Jimin's voice came out quieter than he intended. "Losing yourself to what?" "Something I'm not supposed to want," Jungkook whispered. "And what is that?" Jungkook's jaw tightened. His hands shook. Then he whispered the truth like a confession he had never meant to say aloud. "You." Jimin exhaled sharply, like the ground had shifted beneath him. He reached out slowly, placing a hand on top of Jungkook's trembling one. Jungkook didn't pull away. "You're not supposed to want me," Jimin said softly. "Who told you that?" "No one had to," Jungkook answered. "I told myself. I made rules so I wouldn't cross lines. So I wouldn't get hurt. So you wouldn't get hurt. And has any of it worked?" Jungkook let out a hollow breath. No. Jimin slid closer, letting their shoulders touch. The warmth of contact seemed to melt something in Jungkook's chest. "What did you think would happen?" Jimin asked gently. "That wanting me would destroy everything?" "Yes," Jungkook whispered. "No. I don't know. But I couldn't risk it." Jimin took Jungkook's chin between his fingers, turning his face toward him. Jungkook's eyes widened at the sudden closeness. "You're not protecting me by hiding," Jimin said. "You're hurting me." Jungkook flinched. The guilt in his expression was immediate, deep, and unguarded. "I know," he whispered. "I hurt you because I couldn't deal with what I felt." "What do you feel?" Jimin pressed. Jungkook closed his eyes, and for once, he didn't run. He let the truth out on a trembling exhale. "When I look at you, it feels like everything inside me is pulling in your direction." Jimin felt something bloom painfully in his chest, something dangerous and bright. "And when you're close," Jungkook continued, "I forget to breathe. I lose control. I get jealous without meaning to. I hate seeing you with anyone else. And I hate myself for hating it." His voice broke. "And when you walked away last week, I thought I was going to lose my mind." Jimin's eyes filled with heat and emotion. "Then why didn't you tell me?" "Because I thought it was better if you never knew," Jungkook said. "Better for you. Safer for me." "I don't want safe," Jimin whispered. "I want honest. And I don't know how to be honest without ruining everything." Jimin leaned forward until their foreheads touched again. Jungkook's breath shuddered. "You already ruined it," Jimin murmured. "The moment you made me fall for you without warning." Jungkook inhaled sharply, fingers instinctively gripping Jimin's sleeve. "Hyung, don't say things like that. It's the truth." Jungkook opened his eyes, stunned, terrified, undone. "You feel that way?" Jimin brushed a thumb over Jungkook's cheek, soft and steady. "What do you think?" Jungkook's voice was barely audible. "I think I'm not dreaming for once." Jimin smiled, a soft, heartbroken smile. "You're not." Something in Jungkook broke then, not in pain, but in release. Every wall he had built, every fear he had carried, every denial he had forced on himself, all of it came undone in the warmth of Jimin's touch. He leaned into him, resting his head against Jimin's shoulder, breathing him in like he had been holding his breath for months. Jimin wrapped an arm around him, slow and protective, fingers brushing soothing circles against Jungkook's back. For the first time that night, Jungkook's voice was steady. "I don't want to run anymore," he whispered. Jimin's hold tightened, gentle and grounding. "Then don't." The room felt smaller, quieter, Sacred in a way neither of them had words for. Jungkook lifted his head slowly, eyes searching Jimin's face with a rawness so intense it almost hurt to look at. When the world finds out, Jungkook whispered, they'll tear us apart. Jimin rested a hand over Jungkook's heart. Then let them try. Jungkook exhaled a shaking breath, not in panic this time, but in fragile relief. And for that one night, in the warm glow of the quiet room, the world outside didn't exist. Only them. Only truth. Only the beginning of something neither could hide from anymore. The next morning, the city didn't wake up quietly. It screamed. Jungkook's phone wouldn't stop vibrating, notifications piling up faster than he could swipe them away. Headlines flashed across every news portal, social feed, and entertainment site like wildfire. Asterisk secret affair? BTS members caught in intimate moment. Asterisk asterisk behind closed doors. The truth about Jungkook and Jimin's late-night encounter. Asterisk the photos were blurry, grainy, but unmistakable. The reflection of their faces in the studio mirror, the proximity, the tension, someone had been watching. Someone had leaked it. Jungkook's chest felt like it was caving in. His phone buzzed again, his manager, the label, his mother. Every call, every message felt like another explosion waiting to happen. He ignored them all. He was pacing the floor when the door burst open and Jimin stepped in, face pale, eyes wild. Tell me it's not real, Jimin said, voice trembling. Tell me they didn't. They did. Jungkook cut him off, tossing the phone on the table. The screen lit up again with their faces splashed across an entertainment channel. It's everywhere. Jimin sank onto the couch, covering his face with his hands. Oh my God. We're finished. Jungkook sat across from him, jaw tight. No. We're not. Jimin looked up, disbelieving. They'll blacklist us. Every contract, every sponsorship, it's gone. You know how this industry works. They'll bury us alive before they let this stain their image. Then let them, Jungkook said, the words sharper than he intended. I'm done living by their rules. You don't mean that, Jimin said quietly, his eyes searching Jungkook's face. You've worked for this your whole life. You bled for it. Jungkook's gaze softened, but his voice stayed steady. I bled for us too. Jimin's breath caught, but before he could respond, there was a loud knock on the door, aggressive, demanding. Jungkook didn't move. The knocking turned into pounding. Jungkook, open up. It was the manager's voice again, furious. We need to talk now. Jimin tensed, panic flickering across his face. They'll make us deny it. They'll make us lie. Jungkook's hand brushed his, a quiet reassurance. Not this time. He opened the door. The manager stormed in, phone in hand, face flushed with rage. Do you have any idea what you've done? This isn't some rumor we can spin. There are asterisk photos asterisk, Jungkook. Asterisk videos. Asterisk the company is in chaos, sponsors are threatening to pull out, and the board wants both of you suspended immediately. Jungkook didn't flinch. Suspended or not, I'm not apologizing. The manager blinked. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious, Jungkook said. You knew what was happening. You were there that night. You let them break us once, but not again. Do you even hear yourself? The manager snapped. Do you think this is just about you? The entire group's reputation is on the line. You'll drag everyone down with you. Jimin stood up, trembling. Then let me take the blame. Jungkook turned sharply. No, Jimin's voice cracked. It's my fault. I came to you, I started this. Let them believe what they want. Just don't destroy yourself for me. Don't you dare, Jungkook said, stepping closer. His voice dropped, rough and raw. Don't you dare make this another sacrifice. I won't let them turn you into a villain for loving me. The manager slammed his hand on the table. Enough. Both of you shut up before you say something even dumber. The company will issue a statement denying everything. You'll go live, apologize for the misunderstanding, and we'll bury the story in 2 days. That's the only way to survive this. Survive? Jungkook echoed. Is that what you call this? Because it feels like dying slowly. Think about your fans, the manager hissed. They won't understand. Jungkook's expression hardened. Then they were never really mine. The room fell silent. The manager stared at him as if he didn't recognize the man standing before him anymore. You're playing with fire, Jungkook. Don't say I didn't warn you. When the door slammed behind him, the silence that followed was deafening. Jimin sat back down, his face pale. They're going to come for us. I know, Jungkook said. He walked to the window, watching the storm of flashing headlines through the reflection on the glass. Let them. A tear slid down Jimin's cheek. You can't protect me from this. Jungkook turned and crossed the room, kneeling in front of him. Watch me. Jimin's breath stuttered, his eyes glistening. Why are you doing this? Because I already lost you once, Jungkook said, voice shaking. And I won't let the world take you from me again. Jimin's lips parted, trembling. You'll hate me when it ruins everything. Jungkook smiled faintly, sadness in his eyes. Then I'll hate you in every song I write. Outside, the world burned with speculation, fans split, journalists circling like vultures, the company scrambling for damage control. But inside that quiet apartment, two boys who had once made a promise under the sunset found themselves standing against everything they had ever feared. The next day, Jungkook broke the silence online. His post was only a few words, no management approval, no PR filter. Just raw defiance typed from his own trembling hands. We were never a mistake. The internet exploded. Some called him brave. Others called him reckless. But Jimin, reading those words from his own locked room, felt something break and heal all at once. The world might hate them tomorrow, but for now, under the weight of chaos and the glare of too much light, their truth finally existed, and for the first time since that night years ago, when the promise was made under the fading sun, they weren't hiding anymore. The rain outside had turned violent, almost as if the sky was reflecting the chaos inside Jungkook's penthouse, where silence held its breath between two hearts that had been pulled, stretched, torn, and finally forced to confront their truth. Jimin stood by the large window, his reflection trembling on the glass. Jungkook watched him from behind, chest rising and falling with the weight of everything he had been too afraid to say. Jimin, Jungkook whispered, his voice unsteady yet determined, turn around. Jimin didn't. His voice cracked. If I turn around, I don't know if I can let you go. That single confession shattered Jungkook's restraint. He moved toward him slowly, as if approaching something sacred. Then don't, he murmured. Jimin finally turned, eyes glassy, cheeks flushed from holding back everything he had buried. You don't get to say that now, he said quietly. Not after everything. I know, Jungkook replied, jaw tense, gaze burning. But I'm saying it anyway. The storm outside thundered as if punctuating the moment. Jimin shook his head. You can't fix this with intensity. You always push and pull and then disappear. I can't keep breaking for you. And I can't keep pretending I don't ache every time you walk away. Jungkook shot back, his voice rising before dropping to a raw whisper. You think I don't hate myself for that? Jimin closed his eyes, tears slipping out. Then why didn't you choose me? Why did you stay silent when I needed you to fight for me? Jungkook stepped closer until their breaths collided. Because I was scared, he confessed. Because loving you felt like standing on the edge of a cliff with no ground beneath my feet. And now? Jimin whispered. Now. Jungkook took Jimin's hand carefully, like it was something fragile and irreplaceable. Now I don't care if I fall, as long as I fall with you. Jimin let out a trembling breath, finally meeting Jungkook's eyes without walls. You say that now, but what about tomorrow? What about the next time we get too close and you panic again? Jungkook cupped Jimin's face in both hands. Then hold me in place, he murmured. Don't let me run. Make me stay. I want you to make me stay. Jimin's lips parted, stunned. You want that? I want you, Jungkook said, voice steady and unshakable for the first time. Jimin almost broke again, this time from relief, not pain. Jungkook leaned in, forehead touching Jimin's. And if you don't believe me, Jimin's voice shook. I believe you. I'm just scared too. Then let's be scared together. The storm outside softened as if granting them permission. Jimin let out a soft, breathless laugh. You're really doing this, huh? I'm done running. Jungkook brushed away the lingering tears on Jimin's cheeks. I'm choosing you. Fully. Completely. Without excuses. Jimin's eyes softened, something warm blooming inside him. Okay, he whispered. Then choose me again tomorrow. And the day after. And the day after that. Every day, Jungkook promised. Jimin reached up, sliding his hands around Jungkook's neck, pulling him in, not desperately, but finally, like something long overdue. Their kiss wasn't rushed or violent, it was slow, deep, and trembling with everything they had survived to get here. A kiss that tasted like fear, relief, longing, and something close to salvation. When they finally pulled back, breathless and intertwined, Jimin rested his forehead against Jungkook's shoulder. We're a mess, he murmured. Yeah, Jungkook whispered, wrapping his arms around him tightly. But we're ours. Jimin smiled into his chest. For the first time, the silence between them wasn't heavy. It was home. And as the storm faded into quiet rainfall, Jungkook whispered into Jimin's hair, soft, honest, and unafraid. This is our last ending, and our real beginning.